Hello, it's me again. I'm back. I'm back. I'm still not used to videos, but here we go. And the reason why I'm now sending a new video is because since the last video recording I made and I uploaded onto YouTube, there have been two very interesting stories that appeared in the New York Post, which I find extremely interesting and supportive of my case against Mount Sinai Hospital as to what happened to me. It turned out that what happened to me was not at all an anomaly. The first article appeared in the New York Post on December 9th, 2019. And let me see here. Here it is. And the journalist, the investigating journalist, is Ebony Bowden, who, by the way, I'm in touch with now. And she was very interested in my story because it certainly relates to what she had been investigating. And here is the article. You can see it. You can find it online yourself. I'm sorry, still not very good with the camera there, but there, you can see it. Mount Sinai Hospital Emergency Department is a war zone, workers say. It is considered to be one of the best in the country, the hospital, but its emergency department is a different story. It's a danger to the very patients it is supposed to save. And the people that are working there are very, very unhappy, many of them. And they say that they blame the problems there on staffing shortages and an obsession with profits. Well, that sounds very, very familiar to my experience with Mount Sinai Hospital. Staffing shortages, well, as we recall, the registered nurse who was in charge of me, her boss was a per diem worker, very nice lady, but she hadn't a clue as to what was going on, so she wasn't very helpful. The floor manager wasn't to be found anywhere. And an obsession with profits, well, I would agree with that one, okay? Given the salaries these people are making over there and the lack of concern for the patients, despite the fact they keep saying that they're visionaries and that they have a lot of compassion for the patients. Well, I'm still waiting. It's a year and 9 months now and counting, okay? In fact, it's interesting. Her article appeared on December 9th, so it was exactly a year and 9 months, so it's more than that since that dreadful incident that happened to me. Nurse Cocaine, in other words, the one who was involved with cocaine, had a cocaine problem and also an alcohol problem, so she was a convicted criminal. She was placed in my care by Mount Sinai Hospital, and that resulted in her removing from my wrist my Rolex platinum and diamond watch worth more than $50,000. So we're talking here a crime that is not just a robbery, but it's also a felony. And on top of that, the hospital didn't even bother to detain this nurse when I asked them to call the police when I discovered my watch was missing and wasn't to be found because she removed it, claiming she needed to take my watch because she needed to put needles in my wrist, in my left wrist. So at the time, I was suffering in such pain. I was an emergency patient, had been rushed to the hospital. Another doctor had called the ambulance, which was a Mount Sinai ambulance, which I recall was $1,600 for a 2-block ride. Okay, so that sort of fits right in as to where we are now. Staffing shortages and so forth, and the way I was humiliated because I was searching everywhere for my watch because she kept telling me, well, I put it here, I put it there, I put it here, I put it there. Look, I put it inside your wallet, inside your coin purse, where she also put this because she took that, which finally I was able to force her to give back to me. But my watch, that was gone. Okay, and so as you can see, I'm very upset with that. And they didn't bother to detain her. So I would say at the limit, we're talking about aiding and abetting a felony that took place at that point, okay, because she was not detained to be questioned by the police, but also they went out of their way to try to make it look like, oh, it's just an ordinary insurance claim. And so they had their insurance lawyers harass me for the last year or so, okay, trying to get me to settle and take the loss for them so they could cover it up and keep making more and more money, okay, at my expense. So there you have it, okay? So here you have people quitting, including Dr. Eric Barton, who was head of emergency departments for Mount Sinai Hospital Networks. He quit in July 2018 Okay, so we're talking, okay, March 2018, that's when my watch was stolen. That's when I was a patient there. So to July, we were talking about 4 months later. So apparently he was there because he was there less than a year, but thereabouts. Because he had to follow his moral compass and leave and decide this is not an organization that cares for patients. Well, Mr. Barton, I would agree with that one. Okay. And on top of that, okay, it says that it is our opinion that the emergency department at Mount Sinai is inevitably going to have one or more incidents related to patient safety, quality, and it will draw substantial attention from the media, public, legal system, or regulators. And I would agree with all those points because, number one, it's no way I'm going to sit in bed with them on an insurance claim, which is, in my mind, fraudulent. So I'm not going to help them in that situation. I simply want justice, okay, and things made right for me because I did not ask to have my watch stolen. I did not ask to be harassed by an insurance lawyer. I did not ask to be harassed and go through so much suffering and stress. What happened to me when I was digging through those dirty sheets looking for my watch because she told me, well, maybe she put it there, okay, and searching everywhere and still in a lot of pain. Couldn't breathe hardly, and excruciating pain running through my stomach. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, and finally, there's another article that appeared, which was an update to that scathing expose. Does Mount Sinai want its emergency room to be a horror? Well, I would say yes to that. And this is a further article by the New York Post editorial board. Okay. In other words, it repeats what Mr. Barton said earlier. It said the Post Ebony Bolton that he told her he quit in disgust in July 18th because this is an organization that doesn't care for patients. Okay. Do its administrators just figure that the kind of patients who show for the emergency room just aren't worth much trouble? Because the hospital is all too likely to lose money on treating them? Well, it sure looks like Mount Sinai's leaders have decided that it's worth having a reputation as an emergency room no one would want to go to. Well, I would certainly agree with that. And I think most other people would agree that one would not want to go to the emergency room and have as its nurse a person who has a cocaine problem, who's a convicted criminal, and obviously has not gone through the best background check that's possible to be working there. So there you have it. And she have to say she was obsessed with watches because she kept telling me, oh, well, I really like watches. I really like Movado and everything. I have one. Look at my Movado and so forth. And this is what she's telling me while I'm looking for my watch when she knows she has it all the time. Well, another thing I came across online is about a nonprofit, okay, which of course Mount Sinai says that it is, the Mount Sinai Hospital. Well, a nonprofit, okay, this is from the National Council of Nonprofits, okay, clearly, I think a nonpartisan organization, the best interest at heart, says charitable nonprofits embody the best of America. They provide a way for people to work together for the common good. It said they feed, they heal, they shelter, they educate, they inspire, they enlighten, and they nurture people of every age, gender, race, and socioeconomic status, from coast to coast, border to border, and beyond. The one common condition is not paying out profits. Okay? No part of the organization's net earnings can inure to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. Surprise, surprise. I don't think that's what's going on at Mount Sinai Hospital because I see too many millionaires over there making money, okay? And they're at the top of the management making those decisions about that emergency room. And all those people sitting on the board, private equity billionaires. Let's move right along. I'll remind you of my case and the nurse. I will spell out her name. Roseanne. First name, family name, T as in Tom, O, T as in Tom, H as in Harry. I would give a call over at Mount Sinai and see if she's still working there. I wouldn't be surprised if she is. In the emergency room. So there you have it. You sure you want to go there? Here's the letter from Rolex, proving my watch which I no longer have. My necklace, which she attempted to steal, but thank God I got that back. But she just wanted the watch. And here's my wallet, where she claimed she put not only my necklace, where she pulled it out from, okay, and I would never have put it in there. First of all, I was too weak to control my hands, and number one. And number two, it just doesn't make sense because I'm used to nice things. There's no way I would put my watch in, or my necklace in there, okay? I always have my items on me. And when I do put them away, I put them away carefully, okay? And I certainly wouldn't do it in a public space. But trusting the nurse, I thought she was doing the right thing, that there were proper controls in place at that hospital, that they inventory, that they make sure that when I'm ready to leave, I get all my things back. You know what they do at Rikers Island? You know how they treat prisoners out there? I would expect I would get at least that kind of treatment from the hospital. Mauvaise surprise, bad surprise. Okay, so this is where she claimed she put my watch. She said, well, she actually pulled my necklace out. Didn't claim, she just pulled it out. But in my opinion, she did a sleight of hand, slipped it in and pulled it back out, my necklace. Okay, but that begs the question, what the heck was she doing in my wallet? What was she doing in my coin purse? Police report. The statement I made, okay, signed by Mr. Robert Rodriguez, head of security, said, I don't understand why she didn't put your things into the safe. The big safe sitting right behind me in my desk, near my desk. This poor lady who was so nice to me, but she was per diem, Michelle Hepburn, very nice lady. She had no idea what was going on. I didn't find her till after the police had already left, and the police had no one to question, because the last person who had seen my watch, who had taken my watch off me, the hospital simply let her leave off her shift. Her work was done. They didn't even think about detaining her. Aiding and abetting. Thank you very much. Gross negligence at best, at worst, aiding and abetting. And I never saw Miss Kayla McFarland. She's supposed to be the night manager. Who the heck was she? I didn't find her there. Patient relations, I was told to call. I called several times. Nobody called me back. And finally comes to the police report where I had another mauvaise surprise, bad surprise, where, okay, no cameras around the bed, so of course nobody saw anything, but she knew what she was doing. She came in there by herself, and she said she needed to undress me so she could put me in the bed and things like that. And while she was undressing me, and I'll just take this watch because, you know, you need it. I need to take this off from you because you're going to have to use some needles here. We're going to need some needles to go there. So she knew exactly what she was doing. She was by herself and did it right in the middle of the time when she was undressing me and so forth, when I was in such pain and I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe and everything. And the tubes were, the IV were in my right arm and everything, which, by the way, I'm left-handed, so there's no way I could have manipulated to take off the watch myself. Okay, so there you have it. And I'm understandably still upset about this. And then I get this, here's the crowning glory. Okay, which I recognized right away was a doctored up police report, a bunch of legalese here. Okay, after conferring with the security director, after reviewing video, which by the way, no video around the bed where she took the watch because of HIPAA requirements, and conducting interviews of the hospital staff, which of course was interviewed and coached by the legal department, headed by Miss Beth Essick, I think that's her name. Okay, that $1 million salary person. Okay, which I will explain in a minute about how much she's making over there. Okay, so it was determined no crimes, suspicious activity, or persons were observed in and around the crime victim. I would beg to differ, looking at her police record and looking at her conviction and her being found have a cocaine problem and her license being suspended and so forth. I would beg to differ about that one. Okay, so the security director believes that hospital staff may have mishandled the crime victim's property, causing it to be lost. This loss, it sure is taking them a heck of a long time to find it. Are they looking for it? Of course not, because she just took it, okay, and then left. With their blessing, by the way. This case is a civil matter. So, what they didn't know, that I'm a lawyer. So, I don't have to pay a lawyer. I can represent myself, okay? That's number one. I'm sure they were counting on that. So it would be that much more difficult for me to get some justice going on here. Didn't work out that way. So the next thing I know, surprise, surprise, another bad surprise, I get this settlement agreement from their insurance company, which keeps harassing me. Never anything from the hospital, but I get this. And I'm looking, and it says, Well, claimant will not prosecute or assert any claim or action against any other person or entity for liability for any action or omission. And they're saying in here that basically, okay, I agree not to disclose anything of what happened. Okay, and then they want my watch back if they find it. Well, no, they're not going to find it. Maybe like a pawnbroker will find it, or Rolex will find it. Okay, because somebody sent it back there to be serviced at some point, or tried to put more links into it because I have a very tiny wrist. Okay, but good luck with that. So why should I sign this? I didn't lose it. She took it. She removed it from my wrist. She walked on off the premises with the hospital's blessing. Nobody stopped her. Nobody controlled what was going on. If she's going to remove anything from my body, why wasn't someone else there to control the situation? Okay, and to inventory everything that was taken from me, to account to what happened. Because I'm telling you, if Detective Davodian found out there are no cameras around the bed, I think she knew that. Okay, already, Nurse Toth. Okay, so seems to me we're talking gross negligence here, if not willful misconduct and aiding and abetting the commission of a felony, which, by the way, carries with it, okay, the penalty of a prison term. And considering that Miss Toth is like moving around from state to state, from country to country, because, you know, they finally caught up with her in Canada, we're talking about a federal crime as well as a criminal crime, as well as a state crime, state criminal crime, state crime. They didn't even do the slightest of background checks in terms of this Nurse Toth before hiring her. Because if I can Google in a few seconds and I find out what's going on with her, and I'm telling you, when I found out, look at the file that I got on Miss Nurse Toth. Look how big it is. Nurse Toth. I did this in 0.34 seconds. If I can come up with that, a Google search, somebody's not doing their job over there and they just don't care. They're looking the other way. Okay, so finally, okay, after a little over a year, I still never got a phone call back from the hospital, never responded to my emails from the hospital. Okay, I get harassed by insurance collectors. Okay, and then I'm told to sign something, and I'm expected to take a big loss on my watch and saying this is an ordinary insurance claim, which is complete fabrication as to what happened here. So it wasn't me that happened, that happened to. Now, I don't know where they came up with that story, but I'm guessing this is a rule of thumb that the legal department uses every time something comes up missing from a patient. Okay. Now, maybe some other people are losing things, but this woman removed my watch from my wrist. She took it from me. I didn't lay it somewhere. She took it from me. And on top of that, they didn't even detain her when they knew the police was coming, because I asked the hospital to call the police. I guess they had a big laugh, you know, when they had me digging in the dirty sheets, okay, in the waste bin. Well, all those dirty sheets from the ward were there because I was desperate to find my watch. When I was looking around, all around the bed, all down on the floor and everything, looking in the bag, but she kept telling me she put it in the bag. Looking through my wallet when she told me, well, she put it in my wallet inside my coin purse, even though it was impossible because it would never fit in there, everything. But desperate to find my watch and still very groggy and very sick and very, very much in pain. And then she was able to just leave just like that. Okay, must have been very funny to them, but okay. We'll see how long they keep laughing. So finally, I send a letter to Kenneth Davis, who's the president, and Bess Etzik, who's the general counsel, who I told you earlier about, okay, on the 26th of July, 2019, asking, well, okay, give me my watch back. You have it, give it back. You took it from me, give it back. No reply. August 2nd, 2019. I'm going to ask you one more time. Give me my watch back. You took it, I want it back. No reply. I want to know the name and contact information of everybody that came into contact with me, including Ms. Toth. So at least I can do a trace what happened here. No reply. Give me my hospital records. I think I'm entitled to that. That should tell me something besides the release papers. No reply. October 15th, 2019. No reply. Where's my watch? 18 months later, where's my watch? No reply. And that's what, around that time, I did a Google search about Miss Toth. And that's when I came up and I said, so would you please kindly confirm to me in writing whether or not, in fact, this is the same person you entrusted with my care in your emergency ward through the night of 9th, 10th March 2018? Is this the same person who, having been the last person to have seen my watch, who removed it from my wrist and out of my possession under false pretenses, okay, and who you allowed to depart your premises before the arrival of NYPD the morning of the 10th of March 2018 to question her about how my platinum diamond Rolex wristwatch was, as you several weeks later, post-coaching by your legal team, told Detective Devonian was mishandled and lost by you? Is that the same person? No reply. Let me remind you, this is stealing that took place. Larceny is stealing. Okay? What happened to me was larceny. It was a robbery. Okay? It's a theft with the intention of depriving the rightful owner of the property permanently. Okay, and exercising control of the property or enabling a third party to have that control. Now that part is very interesting. Enabling a third party to have that control. I think that third party here is the hospital. What do you think? Okay, and so why the heck should I be calling it an insurance claim or dealing with insurance? This is a crime. Okay, this is gross negligence. This is willful misconduct. This is aiding and abetting. So again, I told you all about Miss Toth. So let's go back to our friends over at the hospital. Okay. First of all, here's our friend, Kenneth Davis, one of these people that I emailed. Okay, he's supposed to be the president there. That's the $12 million man who was profiled in Forbes magazine. That sounds like a charitable organization there. Well, he's the one who's very visionary. They keep talking about that, and he's very excited to say he's a visionary leader who has guided the institution on a strong and dramatic growth trajectory. At whose cost? At the patient's cost, obviously, okay? Where he and Peter May, then chairman of the board of directors, has launched what has been characterized as one of the largest financial turnarounds in the academic medicine. And in 2013, they were just delighted. $8 billion in revenue. They have led a philanthropic campaign to raise, and they've reached that goal of $1.6 billion, okay, including a gift from, who is this? Carl Icahn? Okay, a $200 million gift from him, longtime supporter and trustee. Private equity, Wall Street investors. Kenneth Davis, $12 million. Mary Barra, for a for-profit organization, I'm sure you heard about General Motors, that's in the cars, $2 million. So I think it's more profitable if you're really into money and you just don't care how you make that money. Become the president of a hospital as opposed to a president of a for-profit organization, which, you know, makes at least as honest. It tells you we're capitalists, okay? And then you just get $2 million, but at least you're honest and you can sleep well at night. But maybe he does too. We don't know. Okay, and here's our friend Beth Essick, who will do whatever she can to protect the hospital. Even, in my opinion, in my humble little opinion, doctoring up police reports so that to make sure she protects the hospital the best way she can so they don't have to put out money. Well, I guess it's very profitable for Beth because, you know, she's one of the top wage earners over there. She's made over $1 million in salary a year. Here it is from the IRS report, so you don't have to believe me. It's right there. From the website of ProPublica, the next big wage earner who tops her, naturally Kenneth Davis, okay? And then we have our friend Arthur Klein, who is that person there?
They're doing some construction.
Okay, over $1 million a year he makes. We'll come back to Arthur, but just remember Sackler and remember opioids when you think about Mr. Klein. Okay, now in comparison, sorry about there's some construction next door. Let's look at other lawyers just to get a good perspective about Miss Bessick and what she's worked out there in the marketplace. Okay, let's put aside legal skills because apparently that has not very much to do with it if you're talking about academic legal skills. Okay, the Legal Aid Society supervising attorney salaries. Okay, a true nonprofit situation where it really cares about the poor people, really cares about the welfare of the general public. They're making 100 and the average 100 looks like 138,571. Okay, you can see it right there. That's like a tenth of what Beth Essex makes. So I can see why she's at the hospital instead of legal aid. But maybe legal aid would be good for her. Okay, but okay, let's move on. And here's our friend, Mr. What's his name? Oh yeah, Tony James. Tony James. He's on the board and he's chairman of the finance committee of the Mount Sinai Health System. And he's over at Blackstone. He's an executive vice chairman, Blackstone. Okay, so we all heard about them. Big money. Okay, so I don't know what he makes, but I'm assuming it's a lot. Okay, I would say he's probably a billionaire. Okay, why do we care about Tony? Here's his photo again. Here we go. Because look what I found on ProPublica about Tony. Here's a doctor's group, okay, where Blackstone Group, remember what's his title over there? So I think he's aware of what's going on, I would assume. Executive Vice Chairman, okay, executive offices for Blackstone in New York City. This doctor's group is owned by a private equity firm, Blackstone, and repeatedly sued the poor until we called them, that's ProPublica, and an organization called Justice Through Journalism, to expose these people because apparently they don't understand the court system, but they do get embarrassed when you talk about them in the media, okay? So what happened here? Well, this poor woman here, she was harassed by debt collecting agencies, okay, and she's making a salary of $11 an hour as a caregiver, God bless her. In April, Southeastern, which is owned by Blackstone, sued her for a little over $1,000, and then they tried to garnish her wages, $11 an hour, and they tried to garnish her wages at 25% of her paycheck. Poor thing. I'm wondering at $11 an hour, how does she make it? Okay, but apparently some people just don't care about that. Well, they kind of stopped that when they were exposed, but when I wrote to Tony James, now I can understand why I didn't hear from him. Peter May. Now that's an interesting guy. That's another person I wrote, okay? And I should say, yes, after I wrote these people, I noticed when I sent them the links to my video that my emails got bounced back. Now I'm wondering, am I making them feel uncomfortable because they don't want to know? It's like they want to put their heads into the sand. Well, I guess they're putting their heads in the sand along with their $1 billion they're making, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so but he's a billionaire, and he really, really, really likes Wendy's. He's an estimated net worth. Okay, Peter May. Okay, who's on the board of trustee, well, emeritus, or chairman, I think that's what they're calling him, of the board of trustees of Mount Sinai Health System. Okay, $1.18 billion as of August 15, 2019. That was his estimated net worth. Now, mind you, August is like the middle of the year, so he still has billions to make, I guess, to the end of this year. So I'd like to get an update about that, okay, in the coming days in December. Mr. May owns over 2 million units of the Wendy's company stock worth over $581 million. Okay, his biggest trade, the largest trade he ever made was selling 16.2 million units of the Wendy's company stock on the 15th of January 2014, worth over $144 million. That's pretty good, okay, in one trade, in one day. Now that's making money. Okay, so why do we care about him? Wendy's company, you heard about Wendy's hamburgers? You know what the average salary for people working at Wendy's? I would guess somewhere between, I don't know, minimum wage, like about $8 to about $11 an hour. Next, Klein. Remember him? Okay, now he's an interesting guy. He's on the board. After writing all these people and just trying to get them to respond to me, to find out, will the hospital do the right thing here? There's another guy on the board. He finally writes me back, okay, one line. I'll have someone get back to you from my team. That was about a week ago, okay, after over a year and 9 months. I'm still waiting. I said, thank you. I was very polite. Looking forward to it. No reply. But then, okay, what should I expect from this guy who's executive vice president of the Mount Sinai Hospital and executive vice president of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai? Well, let's see now. He's associated with the Sackler School of Medicine, okay, from the Board of Trustees. Heard about opioids? You heard about the Sacklers? Well, I think a lot of universities, including my own, thank God, okay, has decided to divest, to step away from these people, okay. We'll leave that at that. Okay, so we've seen all these salaries. And then here's our guy again, Mr. Hawkbird. Wrote to him. No. Mr. Sunshine from Canada. I'm sure he's heard about the courts in Canada and that criminal conviction, that being public information. No reply. Joseph Hennessy. No reply. Okay, so now I'm starting to look at other people on the board. And it's a long list, thank goodness, of people I can contact, still try to get justice here. So I'm just starting out, and I think I've written about 5 people now, but I have a way to go, and also lots of time. Okay, so one of these days, I'm going to come across somebody that's going to listen to me, okay, and I'm sure they've all seen that New York Post article, well, 2 now, okay. So who have I written to so far? I've sent copies of my video, and we'll continue to put them on my mailing list. The Coleman family, okay, there are 2 on the board there, Edgar Coleman Jr. and Susan Coleman. Here they are, okay. Why should we care about these people being on the board? Well, I think it's kind of interesting. These are the same people who brought us Philip Morris, Benson and Hedges, and is the father of the leveraged buyout. Oh yeah, they also involved in XLAX. Tobacco and cigarettes. That's interesting people to put on the board of trustees of a hospital. And then we have Mr. Joel Ehrenkrantz, who is speaking about investment opportunities in today's markets. Another person on the board. Donald Gogol. Another one on the board. No reply from him. But he does have an interesting piece I had not yet have a chance to take a look at. What's so great about private equity? What's so good about private equity? A lot, he says. Well, there you have it. John Levin. No word from him. Eric Mendick. No word from him. More money for Medicare and Medicaid. I talked about that before. Bright Health. They've invested in that. And they've gone global. They're in Canada. But I don't think they're going to go to Europe. And we won't put up with that over there. But there you have it. Maybe England. We never know. You know, Boris Johnson was just elected. But I really don't think so. We're going to put up with this nonsense. So here we are. Weak oversight lets dangerous nurses work in New York. Ta-da! Prime suspect, Mount Sinai Hospital. Thank you very much. New York lawmakers race to toughen oversights of nurses and other professionals. Well, good luck with that, with these huge interests of the pharmaceutical company, the hospitals, their lobbyists, and those billionaires sitting on the board. State audit slams New York's oversight of nurses. Doctors, medical staff on drugs put patients at risk. Boy, do I know about that one. Again, I'm lucky that I made it out of there alive. Okay, and then finally, our friend Kenneth Fiorello, the latest harasser, insurance company guy. So again, I'm wondering, why is this guy bothering me? Oh, I think I had his photo somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. You can look him up. I'll spell out his name for you. Kenneth is the first name. The family name, Fiorella. From the law firm of Rubin Fiorello. And he contacts me and he says, you know, just take a little money here and sign these papers and everything will be okay. And please, please don't contact the hospital. Don't talk to them. Don't bother them. Don't no, you don't have to talk to them. Leave everything to me. Oh, really? Well, sorry. Don't be confused here. I'm the victim, not the hospital. It's me. I'm the victim. Okay, that's number one. And number two, where the hospital say that you're representing them. And number three, the biggest question: why am I dealing with an insurance lawyer? This is not an insurance claim. This woman took my watch with the intention of keeping it. She took it under false pretenses. The hospital refused to detain her. They didn't bother to. They made it easy for her, much easier for her to walk away with my watch. They coached her as to what to say to the detective so that it looked like that's not at all what happened to me. Please. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you will take a look at those articles in New York Post. I know that some politicians are very interested in what I have to say because they're trying their best to make New York safer, the hospital safer. Unfortunately, I think with Mount Sinai Hospital, it's just too much money involved here. Maybe lowering those salaries would help out a little bit. Maybe those people just go away and go work on Wall Street where they really need to be, okay, since they like money so much. And please let some of those people from legal aid who really care about individuals and it's not about the money, let them go work for the hospital and then put a risk management system in place. I heard there's one, but that one obviously doesn't work or looks the other way. Okay. And these are people from inside the hospital, which has proven this situation is systemic. So give me my watch back. Thank you. How do I cut this off? And
With the